It's Thursday, August 20th, 2015. I'm Rim.
I'm Scott.
And this is Geeknights. Tonight, we're talking about cookies. The good kind.
The delicious kind.
Let's do this.
So, I got NAS. Holds, my files.
Oh, yeah. I got a crappy, old Netgear 2-bay NAS sitting right up there above the Geeknights rig.
So, last night, I go to drag a file over to it, and then Windows is disconnected. I'm like, oh, I was working recently. And I'm like, oh, it must just be that thing where, you restart and...
Yep, and it's like, oh, one or more drives are not connected. You click on them, then they're like, okay, we're good now.
Right, exactly. I was like, click on it, it's not good now. So I turn around and look at it, and it's off. And I'm like, I didn't turn you off.
That's weird.
So I go to push the button, and I push the button, and literally nothing happened.
Ooh.
Right? No noise, nothing. It's
what kind of NAS is this?
A Ready NAS NV Plus.
Okay,
so it served me well for many years.
Yeah, I mean, my Netgear is the shittest tier Netgear, and it's been going nonstop for a long time.
Anyway, it's been 4 or 5 years. The warranty's way over. So
I have lost 2 drives in mine, though.
I haven't lost any. So anyway, when you push a power button on something, and you check to make sure it's plugged in, and you flick, if absolutely nothing happens, the odds are the thing that is broken is the power supply.
Yep. Now you know why Luke needed those power converters.
Right. So I'm like, well, that sucks. What can I do about this? So I go online, and apparently, not my version, but there's a previous version of the similar NAS, the same model line, had serious problems with especially heat and the power supply dying.
You do keep your apartment warmer than I keep mine.
Well, I don't even turn the air conditioning on when I'm not home, but I don't turn the NAS off ever, so it must have died from the heat while I was at work.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's a less common problem with my much newer model. I mean, it lasted 5 years. The other ones apparently were dying
But also,
immediately.
honestly, in consumer level stuff, power supply goes on everything eventually.
Yeah, so I'm like, well, what can I do about this? Can I buy the same exact NAS and move my drives over?
See, now this is the thing. This is why I hate consumer level NASes so much. But at the same time, I don't really trust Drobo because that's the Apple of NASes. Your NAS, you have to ask that question. Well, can I use with a real NAS? You just fucking pull all the drives out, put it in any equivalent NAS, and it just immediately starts working again
so,
nothing happened.
If I can get the same NAS with the same firmware, that would work.
No, you don't even need the same. You just need anything in this power server RAID whatever series will work. You don't even care.
But anyway, I could also get the software that's pretty easy to get and plug all the drives into a computer, tell it which one was which, and be able to save the data that way.
Yep.
Or I could fix this NAS by probably 90% chance replacing the power supply will fix it, right?
Yep.
So I went online, and this is such a common problem. There's plenty of third-party power supplies available. So I ordered one. And assuming it works, I'll be all right. But should I then try to replace the NAS with a newer one?
I would.
Right?
You know what I'd do? Because I'm thinking about doing this.
I'm glad I bought some bigger drives for my main PC on the Windows 10 upgrade recently.
I've been planning.
But it's a lot of money to buy a new NAS. I don't want to spend for no reason.
It's even worse if you want a good one.
The power supply was already $100.
Yeah. So if you want a good NAS, even not a professional one, here's the problem. Drobos are just faster in a lot of ways, and they work a lot better in a lot of ways.
But the network one is expensive.
No, the network one's cheap. The DAS one's expensive.
Oh, really?
The network one's a few $100. It's not that much more. The drives cost way more than the Drobo.
I have drives.
Yeah, but...
drives are fine.
If a Drobo fails, the only way to get the data is to get another Drobo.
That's correct.
You cannot get the data in any software, any other device.
Yeah,
and
it's a proprietary kind of thing.
Because it's not RAID, it's something else. Now, the reality is, RAID is obsolete, effectively.
My NAS is using some nonsense called RAID X or whatever, X RAID.
Mine is I have just a straight-up mirror up there.
Oh, just a mirror?
Yeah.
All right.
Well, because you know what? When I got it, space was actually not as cheap as it is now. This is an old NAS.
Mine has 4 2-terabyte drives.
Mine has 2 3-terabyte drives. But the difference between a 4-bay and a 5-bay in terms of speed and reliability is night and day. But the price is way higher for that 5th spot. The Drobo and professional NASes, that's one thing the Drobo does that pro NASes do and these don't. You can buy a 6th drive, an M.2, the ones that are just cards, SSDs. stick that in the bottom, and it won't like use that for redundancy. It'll just cache the shit out of your data and make it way fast.
Mm-hmm.
But that means buying a weird proprietary NAS from basically the Apple of NASes, and then buying 5 drives and buying a 6th M.2 drive that'll be like $100 more than like a normal SSD SATA.
But why do I need it to be that fast? I basically just use it for backups. It's
Yeah,
just
well, that's the
it's a
difference.
backup storing place.
I want to work on video that way.
I bought fast hard drives and put them in my computer for that.
So I would only do the caching if I was getting a DAS. That's a NAS that connects directly to your computer with
It's not a NAS at all. It's just an external hard drive or a
Except-
bunch of external hard drives in a box
Yeah.
that looks like one hard drive.
A DAS is, think of it as an external hard drive that's actually like 6 drives all rated together and like super fast and performant and gigantic. That's what you do when you're like editing video from that thing.
I just
on
have a
PC.
big hard drive in my computer that I edit video on.
Yep.
What's wrong with that?
Anyway, it's a more Monday topic. What I'm probably going to do is, as soon as we have some downtime after PAX and I edit like the next round of video, I'm going to reinstall Windows on an SSD and install a USB 3 thing and keep this computer for another like 6 or 7 months. And when I get a new computer, I'm going to get a bunch of drives and use the Windows redundancy inside the computer. And that'll be my fast stuff. And then I'll get some giant, maybe like professional, like one of those just enclosures with like 8 drives. And
I
just
don't need that many drives.
well, I'll make that my data store forever, and I'll integrate it with Glacier.
I wish
So-
I had just faster internet because then I wouldn't even need a NAS. I could just back everything up in the cloud.
Well, what I want, my ideal situation, I've been thinking about this a lot, just with the way I live my life, is have some gigantic, like real SAN in my
A
apartment.
SAN.
Or like a high-level NAS.
You need a SAN.
Yeah, well, there's a layer between the two.
I think you're going overboard.
Like 6, 7, whatever drives. Networks, obviously. But
Obviously.
then I'd use the API on it to say every 6 months, just put a snapshot on Glacier because that shit is so cheap. Like Glacier is so cheap, it's almost hilarious.
How do you?
Like that's my ideal. But
Okay.
anyway,
Yeah, my ideal. Stuff that costs a fortune.
wouldn't cost that much. An enclosure like that would be
Complete
like
overkill. Yeah, my ideal is having like 3 CPUs, even though we have multi-core CPUs these days, and also like 10 video cards and
it's not my ideal. They use way too
4
much power
5K monitors.
and being a pain in the ass to set up.
And a house to put it in.
It is my reasonable ideal
Uh-huh.
to have a upper class NAS
Sure.
in my life. So, got any news? It is Thursday. It's the lounge. Did you forget your news already?
No, I mean, there wasn't really any good news, so I took a super mainstream news.
Ooh, because I also have a super mainstream
Not
news.
because I want to talk about the news itself, but the topic related to it briefly, right?
I imagine this doesn't involve politics in any way?
No, it involves sports.
Oh, okay.
So this week, there was a big news, especially in New York, that was like, Eli Manning asked for the most money ever. So regardless of whether that's true or not, right, it brings up the topic of professional athletes getting paid way too much money.
Yeah, well, it's already a complicated thing because, like, football, like American football players, a lot of them are pretty much fucked after their, like, late 30s.
Not if you're a quarterback.
Yeah, what if you're just, like, the fucking fullback? Just, all right.
If your teams, a lot of teams don't even have fullbacks these days. Yeah. But anyway, a lot of people, especially anti-sport nerds, and this is related to our PAX panel, one thing they often bring up is how athletes are overpaid. So I just want to address this for a bit. First of all, you're a professional athlete. You pretty much spent your whole life on this one thing, because that's the only way you could be good enough to do that. You don't have any other skills. There's not like some other job you can get that isn't a piece of shit job.
Yeah, your degree isn't something worthless, probably, because you were doing college
If you even
sports.
have a degree.
Yeah.
You invested all that time, like a doctor, right? A doctor invests all their whole life into being a doctor. It takes years and years and years of practice. So when they finally become a doctor, they need to be paid a lot of money to make up for the fact that they just wasted their whole life on this one thing. Also, you can't do it for very long. You can be a doctor until you're like an old man, assuming you keep yourself healthy with your doctor skills.
A 45-year-old football player, that's a unicorn.
Right. If you're a football player or even hockey or any kind, even baseball, you can only do this for like a couple of years. You need to make a lot of money in those years so that you can retire and be okay afterwards. Right? And not everyone can do awesome stuff afterwards and have a second act unless you're ridiculously good in the first place.
Plus,
like a Michael
especially
Jordan or
if
whatever.
you've got, repeated concussion syndrome
Right.
and you're
well, even if
senile
you
by
don't
the
have
time you're
concussions,
50.
you just played baseball, right? You made $1 million a year for 15 years, and now you have $15 million.
I could live on $15 million for the rest of my life from today.
Sure, but you had to live for those years, and you had to retire when you're 30-something.
Yeah, now.
And now
I can retire now with $5 million and live the rest of my life just fine.
But that's, you need that, right? Normal people are going to go to 65 before they retire. So you're making, if you add up all the money you make over time compared to a not ridiculously top-of-the-line professional athlete, you're actually making about the same. You might even make more money than them in your life, right? Just from the salary at your job.
Well, because people forget, you look at the salaries of these players. That's the top players you hear their names of. You don't know the names of all the people that don't matter.
They're making $1 million a year, $500K a year, right?
Like they're hockey players
for 5 years, and then they're out of the league, and that's
their hockey players are only on the ice in games that don't matter. There are baseball players who never bat. Like
there are people who are only in the minor leagues. That's their whole job.
Yeah,
right.
You got to spend time in the minor leagues to even have a chance of getting into the major leagues.
Anyway, also. You look at these athletes, they're making so much ridiculous money. The owners, right? You think like the athlete getting like $20 million a year or something is making big bank. Hello, the owner has multi-billions, right? And they don't want to pay the athlete who's making them those multi-billions an extra $1 million a year. It's like, dude, if I'm working for someone and they make that much, I'm directly like just 2 steps under them, right? Because it's like quarterback, coach, owner, general manager, owner, and they make literally 1,000 times more money than I do. They can go fuck themselves and pay me an extra couple millions.
You made me realize something. There's something very special about sports. I don't know if you're getting at this or not. So, in the modern world, the workers do not control the means of production. The workers are a byproduct. Production is performed by technology, capital, and a small number of experts. But in professional sports, there's only so many humans who can play that game.
There are not enough quarterbacks in the NFL for every team to have a quality quarterback.
Yeah, only like 10 NHL teams have a decent goalie.
Right. If you are good at this job that is so incredibly rare for anyone to be good at, well, your labor actually has value, and you can demand this large amount of money.
So professional sports in the United States is an industry where full-on communism probably work out.
Right. I mean, there's a reason that, you need to have a union for these things, right? Because it's like, normally I could go and be like, well, I don't like working here anymore. I'll go work somewhere else. If you're the hockey goalie, it's not like you can work anywhere else. You either work in the NHL or the KHL. You don't have a choice.
Like football, I'll go play in the XFL.
Right, that does not around anymore.
I know.
But it's like you don't have a choice of where to work, so you need this union, to be very strong and to basically say, hey, because it's not like you can quit and go work somewhere else. No competition for your labor. You have only one possible employer. You need to stick it to them and stick it to them hard to get what you deserve.
I think the real problem is with all this is that a lot of people who are young who literally have no chance of actually being in professional sports.
No chance.
Basically ruin their lives chasing that and expecting that it's possible when it's probably not.
It is so.
That is the main
It's possible.
problem.
It's just unlikely, right? Thousands and thousands and thousands of people attempt it, and only a few hundreds make it.
And the rest of them are Napoleon Dynamite's dad?
Right.
Yeah.
So...
we'll talk.
But don't be getting mad. I don't want to. I don't like it when people are getting mad at how much some athletes are getting paid, because they actually probably all professional athletes probably deserve way more. And you know what? When 30, 50, 70, 100,000 people come to watch you work and are willing to pay $100 to watch you work. Yeah, all right, then you can get as much money as they get.
Yeah, I can barely get one person to watch me work.
Yeah, right? Okay, so...
Occasionally the CEO will wander over to my office and look over my shoulder and be like, hey.
If the things that you are capable of are so amazing that people are willing to pay to see them, right, regardless of what it is that you are doing, then you deserve all that money. It's no different than, any other performer.
You just gave me an idea, but I couldn't do it at my job.
Right? No one's going to say, oh, man, that dancer, in the ballet is making too much money. It's like, dude, it's like 1,000 people are willing to pay to see them dance. They deserve it.
You know what I want to do?
They're so good at what they do.
I want to do a Let's Play of me working for a whole day. Here's my screen. Here's my face. This is what I do.
If only there weren't security-related issues with that.
So someone who doesn't have those concerns, I would watch Conrad's Let's Play, Let's Work, make Let's Work a thing.
He's probably typing in passwords to things.
Yeah.
You'd have to have a little box you can move around to hide password things or whatever.
Anyway, so in other news, there's a pretty good argument going on about this in the forum, so I figured it's actually worth discussing. So if you're not aware, Ashley Madison
Is not a person.
Is
Or
a-
was a person. Maybe. I don't even know.
is a website,
Mm-hmm.
and it's still up apparently, and it still has a FAQ, where, like it still acts like it's real,
Sure.
where basically if you are married and want to cheat on your spouse, you can go and make a secret account and pay
I mean,
money.
couldn't you just use any dating site for this?
Well, the idea was that no one can see your details fully. Like it's secure. You can hit a button.
It's a dating site, but it was specifically designed with this purpose in
yes,
mind.
having an affair.
They made some slight changes to it compared to, say, an OkCupid or whatever.
It is specifically cheat on your wife. And yes, I say cheat on your wife because 80+% of the profiles are men, and the people who leaked the data said that most of the female profiles were fake and made by the company.
Mm-hmm.
So it's a bunch of dudes trying to cheat on their wives
And
failing, but paying money.
Okay.
And they had a feature where you could pay more money to delete all traces of your profile guaranteed. Yeah,
you
not
have to
only
pay
was,
money for that?
yeah.
So you basically signed up and paid money for a service, which will then extort more money out of you.
Yup.
Okay.
And yeah, so
So if you sign up for this, you are a moron.
So, yeah, you're at best case scenario, you're incredibly naive and polyamorous, but most likely you're just a shitbag guy trying to cheat on his wife.
Sure. I mean, usually people who are legit polyamorous, if you go on real dating sites,
They're just like, hey,
yeah, you'll see people on there who are like, I'm in a committed relationship looking for some fun times.
yeah. Plus, even if you're polyamorous and decide to use this site, this site is marketed in the sleaziest fucking way ever. And if you believe it, if you go there and use it, whoever you have sex with, they're cheating on their husband or wife.
Supposedly.
Yeah.
I mean, I suppose you could just sign up for this if you were really into getting with someone who was married.
So one guy on
regardless
Fark-
of your status.
Well, you're supposed to only sign up, I think, if you are currently in a committed relationship. But anyway, one Farker was like, "Oh yeah, I'm in there," and he's like, "Here's my email address." Yeah, I signed up because I was writing this article about it. Then he linked to the article, and he was like, "And this place was just full of sleazebags."
Of course, it's full of sleazebags.
So,
Who did I meet down at the strip club? High class individuals? No, not at all.
you wouldn't enjoy it. It is quite lowbrow.
No, I'm quite low. No, I'm not. I'm in fact the opposite of lowbrow.
So, unless you live under a rock, you at least are aware because this is in the regular news. The site got hacked. This got hacked probably more devastatingly than anything like this has ever been hacked before. The entire database of everything is just on Pirate Bay right now.
Just SQL file?
Yeah, text files, SQL, everything. It's like this 12 gigabyte dump.
I don't need a dump.
Yeah, I don't need the dump either. You know why? Because like 100 news sites are pouring through it. A couple of celebrities have already been not only caught, but admitted to it because the evidence is damning.
Okay.
So I find this all vaguely amusing, and there's a pretty good argument in the forum. And the argument is thus, I don't know, we could do a show on this later, but just so you can set the stage, this is the kind of thing to think about. What is the like, when is activist hacking like this ethical or a good thing? Because
I mean, that question is so loaded because you have so many overlapping topics here that are bumping into each other, and you have to address each of them separately.
Well, like the
right?
examples I used, because someone was pressing me.
Because it's like if you can talk about like, well, is having affairs, like the issues of having affairs, all right, is involved here. So you have to take that out and address that on its own, right? Then you have to address just the privacy issues in general, and the technical issues, and they're all separate.
Or even
and
like the openness issue.
Because they're all overlapping here, it's easy to get confused, and it's not easy to discuss it properly.
Like, what if I'm gay and I'm trying to cheat on my wife who I don't love with men, and I live in Saudi Arabia? Well, I'm gonna die because of this.
Sure.
So
theoretically.
Yeah. So the argument came down to the angle I was looking at was the pure ethics of activist hacking at a fundamental level, like that philosophical question, because there are 3 use cases of it.
Well, activist hacking includes many activities, only one of which is take a database from someone's website and publish it.
So activist dox hacking, like doxing hacking, which is
this doxing and this you can dox without hacking.
Yeah, and you can hack without doxing.
You're right. So those are completely separate.
But doing
as well.
both activist hacking to then release information that is true about people that was hidden.
Okay.
And you'd say, oh well, truth is generally good. So here's three examples that are gonna keep you up at night. because this is the argument going on in the forum right now. The middle example is this, where the vast majority of people on this site who actually used it are undisputable shitbags.
Sure.
But some people might not be.
Sure.
So those people might get fucked by this.
Okay.
I'm enjoying the hack anyway, even though, a few people probably get hurt because most of it. But anyway, on the other side, what if the KKK in the entire U.S., every chapter
You're
of the KKK...
going real close to Godwin here.
Yeah, got hacked. And that list just got released. Does that make the world better or worse to know that, say, some mayor is actually secretly a member of the KKK legit?
All right. Well, what about Ye Sex Offender Registry, which has a whole bunch of people on it who probably shouldn't be on there, whose lives are ruined?
All right, let's go the other way.
What if someone on your KKK list wasn't actually in the KKK?
Well, I'm saying what if it was a bona fide verified one? Like, this one is interesting because Ashley Madison is not just...
How do you know it's bona fide verified? This is just something on Pirate Bay.
No, so this one's interesting because... there's one way to verify information like this, and that is when there are many, many unstructured sources of data that all have to line up with each other.
Yep.
That's the one thing that's super hard to hack and cheat. Like, if you break into a Linux system, it's actually real hard to, like, mess with stuff without leaving a trail. They might not be able to trace you back to, like, that person did the hack, but people can look at the data and say, that data was fucked with. Because varlog messages has a gap, and this other log file show, that kind of stuff. So here, it's not just, it's the profiles, it's all the photos you posted of yourself, all your communications, your credit card number, and all the transactions. It's pretty hard. Like, you can pretty much prove for some of these accounts that it's bona fide, like that person really did it. But the other side, what if an anti-abortion activist decided to hack Planned Parenthood and just release the database everyone ever got an abortion? That would be super bad and hurt a lot of people.
I think in the first two examples, right, those are databases. Well, the KKK one is...
database of bad people, theoretically.
Right, is a database of bad people, right? It's like people like to talk about victim blaming, right, which is a real thing where it's like, well, you got murdered, but it was your fault for walking into Murder Town, which is perfectly a legal and okay thing to do. And it's like, well, you know what?
There's good tacos in Murder Town.
Right, but it's like,
a good place. It's
walking into Murder Town, you didn't do anything wrong walking into Murder Town, so there was no, justice there. It's like, you just got murdered. It's not cool.
I see where you're going with this, but it is just wrong to be in the KKK.
Right, if you're in the KKK, so you're complaining that you got, messed up after you were doing something you weren't supposed to do. It's like if a kid, falls over and hurts his leg on the front porch, it's like, oh my God, that sucks. Let me kiss it, make it better. If a kid falls off the fence and he was trying to climb into the neighbor's yard, it's a little different situation.
Yeah.
Right? With that victim blaming, right? It's like in both cases, okay, the kid is the victim. He fell down and hurt himself. But in one case, he hurt himself in the act of doing something no good.
But then the question is,
so
that's where you go deeper.
That's different than just the straight up victim blaming of someone fell over and hurt themselves and
Scott,
you're blaming them for
going deeper, what if his no good was going into the neighbor's yard to steal bread to feed his starving family? Or, the KKK guys think that they're doing good.
Sure.
So
they're not doing anything illegal unless they're lynching people.
Yeah, or even if they
Most of the time they're just burning crosses, which is legal, I guess.
Scott, even if they are lynching people, as
long as it's not on someone else's lawn.
They think that's a good thing.
Sure.
So, morals are pretty relative and arbitrary. And
right. Well, I don't agree that that's a good thing. So, in the war of fighting against them, if we win a battle, that's good for me.
Yep, and that is why, philosophically, I have a complex opinion. And
whatever I believe in, if we strike a blow against the enemy, I say it's good.
Yep.
Same as humans have done for a long time. Only I'm willing to admit it. And I don't have to have some sort of consistent rule that applies to all situations. Like, no, right? If we beat the bad guys this way, I don't need to apply the same principle to fuck the good guys just because, I don't need to have this consistent principle. It's fuck the guys I don't like and yay for the people I do like.
Yeah, that's how I succeed in the world.
People always be trying to be like, have this, like, they need to have consistency and apply the same rules all the time. No, fight the bad guys and go for the good guys. And who gives a shit if you apply the same rules?
So you're saying we should become terrorists?
No, just fight for what you believe and, who cares about, it's like, is it okay to probably, like, blow up, North Korea? Yeah, it probably is. Is it okay to blow up the UK? No. We don't need to make some rule that blowing up things is always okay or always not okay. We don't need that. It's okay if you do it to bad guys. It's not okay if you do it to good guys.
Yeah, and of course, bad guys include just random people in the desert who happen to live in a town where
No, I'm not saying that those people are right. In fact, I don't think anyone who's blown up anyone has been right in a very, 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 very long time.
there's also the separate
ever.
question of, I didn't do this hack, but the data's there. What are the ethics of using that data if it's already there? That's the old, there's a Star Trek about they find a Nazi doctor's hologram and they bring him back and he has the cure to a horrible disease, but he got that cure by genociding tons of planets and killing trillions. Do you use the cure or not?
Is the cure actually going to work?
Yes.
Yeah, then use it. Otherwise, those people died in even more vain.
Yeah, it's the question of do you use the Nazi doctor's evil for good? But the argument against it is that by
You
using
can't
it,
undo the evil.
by using it, you encourage people to do more evil because they know that the fruits of their evil will be used by good people.
No, fuck that. Just because you're saying just because I use that, I'm gonna those people who decide to do more evil because I did some good can go fuck themselves.
I'm just saying that is an argument. My whole point of this is that the Ashley Madison hack is a very complex issue that is not easy to argue about because even poking it, just glancing at it, already opens like 20 different arguments. So if you have a discussion with a friend and they don't see how complex an issue this is, they're probably not that bright. That's the only point I got there.
You got to split it up into the separate points and address each one individually without, you can't like suddenly start talking about, is an affair, is having an affair even bad while you're still talking about like, privacy. It's like, no, you have to discuss privacy and then you have to discuss, and they're completely separate. That
is actually one of my easiest signs of a person who is incapable of argument or knows their position is bullshit. When they take an issue like this, and as soon as you make some headway against them on whatever it is they're arguing, they shift to one of those other topics to make sure that you can, it's like whack-a-mole, you can never actually finish them on anything because they'll always move a little bit to the left and a little bit to the right.
Right. It's like, no, those are all completely separate arguments, and each one has, multiple different answers, or perhaps no answer, or a really easy definitive answer.
Anyway, things of the day.
Oh, shit, what was my thing? Oh, I remember.
My thing of the day, I'm using this only because Scott doesn't like talking about politics, and I follow politics like sports, and they're not as highly paid in many ways as some sports professionals. But anyway, I'm using this as my thing of the day because it's so beautiful. I don't even, I cannot.
You can't even? You
this
can only
image.
odd?
I can only. So, right now, in North Carolina, which is far from the worst state in the United States.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, I'll say that.
Yeah, it's in the top half.
It's not great. It has issues, but has serious issues, in fact, but it's not the worst. It's
it's
not Mississippi.
I said it was in the top half, but that could also mean the northern half. Anyway, so the top 3 polling candidates there in the just general election, you just ask people hey, who should be president? Blah. 40% right now is Donald fucking Trump.
Okay.
All right.
Remember, only old people are answering these polls, so they don't mean anything.
Hillary Clinton, 38%, but the margin of error is 3.2%, so it's a toss-up between the two of them.
I think the margin of error is quite larger than that.
So number 3, with almost 10%, sitting in at 9%.
Nice third party, usually gets about 10% in the U.S.
Is D's Nuts.
Yeah, D's Nuts.
D's Nuts is actually polling pretty consistently well across the country. And if you watch American media, because overseas I've realized people see our big political stuff, but they don't see the internals of our primaries. Watch our news a little bit because every newscaster in the world now, or in America now, talking about this stuff
has to say D's Nuts,
has to refer to a candidate D's Nuts and not laugh.
9% of the people of North Carolina voted for D's Nuts.
D's Nuts. I think I'm more of a fan of Dem Balls. Scott brought that.
I am a supporter of Dem Balls, but if everyone's already going to get on the D's Nuts train, we would only be splitting our voter base.
Yeah.
We'd get 4.5%. That doesn't work in the U.S. election system.
I like Dem Balls, but don't be a Ralph
If we already
Nader.
got 9% on D's Nuts, we'll stick with D's Nuts.
You can't be a
I'd
Ralph
rather have
Nader.
D's Nuts than Dem Nuts. Them 2 nuts who are polling better.
This photo is just so beautiful. So you got a thing?
I do. So this guy is really smart. He made a time-lapse video. It's really short, but it's of a very interesting thing. It's of his sourdough starter
Ooh.
overnight. So you can see the yeasts going and the dough going blah, 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 blah.
The Secret Life of Sourdough Starter?
Yes, it's the secret light. You can basically just watch what this bread blob of flour and yeast and water does at night. And it's not something you often see at this speed. And it's just, there's so many things out there to time-lapse that people just haven't thought to time-lapse. And, you can see a lot of interesting stuff like this that have, with high-speed cameras, low-speed cameras, high magnification and also zooming way out. There's many things in this world, even just on this earth, to see that have not been seen. And this is one of them that I had never seen before.
In the meta moment, this is our last episode probably before PAX Prime.
Oh, snap.
Many of you might...
PAX.
Yep, not Ravenna, but Rome.
Correct.
So many of you might be listening to this episode of Geeknights right now because you saw us at PAX and you were like, "Oh, wonder who those assholes were," and you got one of those
and
little business cards.
You chose this episode.
Well, because it'll be the most recent episode.
Sure.
It's gonna be this Dance Dance Revolution, HTTP proxies, and the lightning round.
Oh, great.
So yeah, we did or are doing 2 panels/lectures at PAX on Sunday, the far future of gaming at 1 p.m. in the Sphinx Theater with me and Scott, Luke Crane, Kat Small, Josephine Fu, and Emily Compton.
Mm-hmm.
Like, for real, we're going to talk about, like, seriously, not joking, what games will be like 50, 100, 500 years from now. Like, what'll role-playing games be like in the distant culture future?
Nice.
And then on Monday, like we said before, at 4 p.m., also in the Sphinx Theater, Sports Are Games.
They
fucking nerds.
They are.
Talking about esports, regular sports, the overlap between the two. Games, sports are games. Not all games are sports. Some games are. We're going to say the brain isn't a muscle just because otherwise. Anyway, it's going to be a real good lecture.
Mm-hmm.
Might even take a question or two at the end.
Very end of PAX.
Yeah. And then we're going to run, hopefully, to the Omegathon finale.
Or not make it.
Yeah, maybe we'll live stream it.
Who knows?
We'll just stay in the room because we're probably the last panel in there and just watch it on our phones.
The enforcers are going to want to take the room apart.
They'll let us sit in there and watch it, I think.
We'll see.
I mean, we're enforcers, just not at this PAX. I'm sure they'll be cool.
We'll see.
The enforcers have never not been cool. In my entire run, we've been to every PAX as Geeknights since 2008.
They're not going to not take apart the room.
Yeah, but they might let us sit in the room watching the Omegathon.
Anyway. The book club book is The Eye of the World by Robert Jordan. I completed reading it.
I'm going to finish it real soon, I think, because it's getting toward nothing happening.
Well, you know what? At the end, they go to the Eye of the World.
Oh, all right.
Spoilers.
Yeah, I get the impression that this book is just like the beginning of a whole bunch of books that'll go at the same pace until the end, and I worry I might actually have to read them all or read spoilers.
I put the second book on my Kindle
Yeah,
to check the first chapter.
Just picks right up.
It just picks right up. It's as if it's you could have just put that first chapter as the final chapter of the first book, and it would have been like, yep. And then, of course, it would have been a weird conclusion because it's a starter, and it sort of reintroduces the characters and things because it's the first chapter of a new book.
I might power through and read the rest of the Wheel of Time stuff just because it won't be that long until our Scott Bakker's book comes out.
Just need some fantasy novel, doesn't matter. Just anything decent.
No, once there's a date for the next Prince of Nothing book, I'm pretty much going to reread all those books because I've kind of forgotten details and I kind of want to be ready for that. Anyway.
You'd forget how to break horses and men?
Oh, my God.
You only remember how to break horses?
Mayer was so long ago. We're so far beyond him. So, yeah. Guess we never did a show on cookies, which...
I'm pretty sure we have.
Search for one.
All right.
Our search fucking sucks, so...
Let me try.
I mean, on the archive, right now, I just typed cookie.
Try the actual admin search.
I also searched there. Nothing came up.
Nothing came up? Well, people love them food shows, and I love them cookies, so cookie show it is. So cookies are pretty much separated into two categories in this world. The bought cookie and the baked cookie.
There's some overlap, though, because, like Fresh Direct, I can get cookies that are baked cookies. Like, they're the same as something I would make at home, effectively.
If it was made in a commercial bakery, then it is... Obviously, even E.L. Fudge and Chips Ahoy are baked, right? It was made in a commercial bakery, no matter how good, it is a bought cookie. If it was made in an oven no larger than the oven most people have in their homes.
That's
then
your
it-
line? I'd go
then
a
it
step
is
above
a
that because
baked cookie.
the oven at Takahashi Bakery is significantly larger than the oven in either of our homes.
That sounds like a professional place.
It is a professional
It
place,
sounds like a bought cookie to me.
but they make the cookies from scratch there every day. And
You
let
don't
me tell
think
you,
they make Chips Ahoy from scratch?
but they
every
make
day?
it with a large mass recipe. Mass recipes, to be able to produce so much so consistently, tend to be subtly different from like the master baker decides this is the kind of cookie I'm going to make today.
I mean, if you have a giant oven, you usually have a big mixer and a big tub of cookie dough. You're making a big.
They don't make that many cookies every day, though. Let me tell you, those
Don't they
chocolate
run
chip-
out of cookies then?
Yeah, they run out of almost everything every day.
Ah, well, that's not good. You want to make some more cookies then, so you don't run out until the very minute you close your store.
Yeah, you know what? Those cookies, real dangerous. I've stopped buying them because I'll eat all 4 of them.
But anyway, both bought and baked cookies can be quite delicious, right? They can also be quite nasty. Some people suck at baking and they bake a shitty cookie.
Yeah. Also, a lot of people like basically stale, preservative-filled trans fat cookies in boxes and bags.
Right. Well, those are the shitty baked cookies. But even some of the mass-produced cookies can still be yummy. You get a nice golden Oreo. Maybe
You
with
know
the
what?
extra
I thought that. I've decided golden Oreos are a trap. I only like them because I'm like at a PAX and Roe or someone brought them and I'm desperately hungry and the cookie brigade hasn't been by recently.
A golden Oreo is so delicious.
Yeah, eat a golden Oreo when you have other things available. And
Well, I mean, I usually don't eat a cookie, just sugar all the time when I have other things available. Right? But a cookie is like the first, most easiest thing to bake because you don't need to use any yeasts. You can do the same consistent thing every time.
They are incredibly consistent to make and also incredibly shelf stable
You
usually.
just mix up a dough and you spoon the dough in blobs onto a sheet and make it hot.
Now, there are complicated cookies that is
Sure.
not true for, but those are the cookies Grandma makes. Don't worry about that.
Yeah, and those grandma's cookies usually aren't as good.
Yeah,
depending
depends.
on the grandma,
Yeah,
right?
my grandma made good cookies.
Yeah, depends.
So, I kind of have a problem with cookies. It's come up on the show a few
if you get
times.
cookies, you eat all of them.
So, yes, I'll get like fancy cookies.
Maybe
from
this
Fresh
is
Direct.
why you don't like the golden Oreos. If I get a bag of golden Oreo, I'll eat like 2 and that's it.
Yeah.
And I'll eat 2 again way later, like days later.
But I eat good cookies on such a constant basis. Like, I eat so many cookies that Emily is vaguely horrified at it.
yeah, you'll buy a box of like cookies, the big kind.
Like 8 or
You know,
9, like huge shortbread
the
cookies.
kind that are like 3-inch diameter.
Yeah, and like half an inch thick.
And you will eat all of them at once.
Yeah, well, no. I will eat all of them over the span of about 48 hours.
All right, I don't see how that's really any different than like the Red Bulls you're drinking.
You know what? There are so many more calories in those cookies. Red Bull actually is not that, like, Red Bull's way less than soda.
You're really just filling yourself up with sugar. It doesn't really matter which vehicle the sugar is driving
I'm also
in.
filling myself up with fat and shortening.
I mean, it's the sugar truck, the sugar boat, the sugar plane, the sugar cargo
When you
plane.
need a lot of honey and you're in a go, sugar, sugar, sugar from your head to your toe.
It doesn't really matter how the sugar gets in there. It's getting in.
But
A cookie is a great way to go.
so yeah, there was a famous incident where I would buy these cookies and I'd be like, "Oh, Emily, I bought us some cookies," and then I put them in the fridge.
You
because
mean you
they're
bought
better
you
now.
some cookies?
Yeah, well, I bought us some cookies, and by the time Emily gets home, I've already eaten 3 of them, so there's only like 4 left. And then I eat one more, and I'm like, "Oh, Emily, you want one?" So she eats one, and I eat one, and then I eat another one because I'm hungry.
And then,
then-
that's the last cookie.
So one time, it's gotten to the point to where I tried buying 2 things of cookies, and
You just eat more cookies.
they disappeared in the same time period. We'll put it that way.
Well, maybe this is why you should keep buying the, not mass manufactured cookie. Because even if there are some delicious ones like Golden Oreo,
I worry that I would eat an entire
if
row.
you eat the entire bag, that's way too much sugar. And even, baked cookies, while they still have a load of sugar, usually have less and are usually have more, say, flour.
Yeah. Well, also, you know what? Cookies, the kind of like crapo cookies that most people eat, like generic cookies, they're good. But the reason the like special cookies are better tasting is that they usually have a lot more butter, sugar stuff in them. So they're actually way more calories than you realize.
That's true.
Like there's way more. It's like
There usually will be more butter, right? Whereas like a Chips Ahoy, that doesn't have real butter in it.
Well, like our friend Judith with her blog on baked goods. The secret to making most things taste better than store-bought is just to put 4 times more butter in.
Right. I mean, Chips Ahoy, I'm telling you, doesn't really have butter. It probably uses shortening or some other sorts of vegetable oils or like soy. Who knows what kind of oils they're using, right? Because that has to be stable on the shelf. You put butter in a bag on the shelf in the grocery store, right? I mean, bake some cookies. How long do they last? Like a couple days and then they're hard?
Yep.
And then it's not a good situation.
But even then, cookies are good. Like they're relatively shelf stable. They keep like some kinds of cookies.
Yeah, they'll just get hard, but doesn't mean they're not good anymore. Other things get hard, and then you can't eat them. Like a muffin, once a muffin's hard, it's done.
But meanwhile,
but a hard
Oreos,
cookie is like still good.
But like if you bake a cookie, like Scott will make cookies kind of often. You haven't done it as much recently.
It's too hot.
Yeah. But like they get hard, but they're still really good. But like Oreos, if they're out too long, like once you break the seal and they're open, they get stale.
Well, they either have preservatives or they don't.
Yeah.
Right.
But stale, I can eat a hard cookie.
Well, that's why they keep putting them in bags these days that reseal.
Yep.
And then they stay fresh.
That's really
but
important.
a lot of people don't, they'll open the bag wrong or something. It's like, oh, you just ruined that. Fuck you.
That's one of there's very few things that I will judge someone on real hard about. Like if someone's just openly racist in front of me, like there's a permanent mark on their like record in my brain. Like, all right. Or like if someone's smoking cigarettes and hasn't quit. If you don't reseal cookies, that's a mark.
If you're at a party and someone opens up a bag and leaves it open on that the snack table, that's not making it till the morning. But if you reseal it and at home you buy a bag of cookies and take 2, put them back, take 2, put them back, that'll be good for days, long time.
So I experienced something kind of recently because I started occasionally sampling marijuana again. Let's put it that way. hadn't really been a thing since a few times in college, and just so happened last time there's a bunch of cookies around, and you know my problem with cookies already.
Did you eat too many cookies?
So I had a bunch.
I'm
of
sure
marijuana.
wouldn't they taste bad, the cookies?
No, they taste the same. Mm-hmm. So no, they were not marijuana cookies. They were regular cookies.
Oh.
I just had a lot of marijuana.
Okay.
And I'll put it this way. This is going to make me sound real old. When we were at RIT and I would occasionally have marijuana, that was way weaker than what marijuana is like nowadays.
Well, I'm sure you can still get the weak stuff if you want.
You probably can, but like the way people consume it and just there's... So I had more than I was accustomed to. And I'm sitting there and we're playing Mario Kart and whatever and everything's fine. And then I think to myself, I would like a cookie. And I walk over to where the cookies are and I can only tell you that this was exactly like Cookie Monster. Think about how bad I am with the cookies now, coupled with the munchies. I basically ate like an entire thing of Oreos.
That's what you do.
Yep.
All right.
Just nom 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 nom.
And this is why I don't smoke weed. You get stoner stories like this. Like,
Yep.
oh my God, I ate a bunch of cookies. Okay.
But it was such an order of magnitude more cookies than I eat with my already not smoking marijuana cookie addiction.
That's stoner brain.
Nah,
You're imagining the magnitude of the cookies. Like you're probably in your mind, there was like an avalanche of cookie, like the freaking what's that freaking cereal that tastes? Cookie Crisp cereal, or like the the disgusting shit, right? And you're probably imagining like you were in a Cookie Crisp commercial or whatever. In reality, you ate a whole bunch of cookies.
Yeah, but it was like 20 or 30 of these Oreos. Like
I can eat 20 or 30 Oreos if I don't eat anything else.
Yeah.
I once ate a whole full bag of Twizzlers. It's not really that different.
Well,
I can eat a giant pixie stick.
I used to have those pixie sticks at RIT because we could buy them at the corner store.
That's right.
Yeah. But, yeah, those cookie cereals, those aren't cookies.
No.
Those are just disgusting.
Yeah. All right, so let's talk about cookie variety. So
What's your
obviously,
favorite cookie? Like top 3. Like what's your...
I can't make a top 3 because basically...
you don't have to order them.
See, what really, these days, people are mixing together so many different cookie ingredients, right, to make all sorts of, delicious combinations, so that it's like you can't pick one single favorite cookie because it's like, there's so many possible variations.
Right. Well, you go by your class of cookie then.
Right. Well, I think the number one thing is I like a cookie. There are factors of cookie, and if you combine these factors, you will achieve perfect cookiness, right? So the first factor is heat. Right? And chewiness. I like the chewy cookie. I don't like the crisp, hard cookie.
I like both in different circumstances.
Right.
Plus,
I mean,
also watch out,
obviously-
chewy. People say they like chewy cookie, but like the average person in Peoria, the kind of cookie they want is that Mrs. Fields, like it's just warmed up cookie dough.
Right. So the heat that's it, the chewiness can't come from fake chewiness like a Chewy Chips Ahoy, although those are good, but that's not the right kind of chewiness, right? It has to come from the heat of having just been baked and cooled off enough. You can't get it straight out of the oven, you'll burn yourself, right? Cooled off enough so that it's ready and cool to be eaten, but still chewy because active molecules from just being baked. That is the right. If the chewiness comes from any other source, it is not the right kind of chewiness.
Yeah, you went a little too far. That's the wok.
Right. So then, in the doughy part, right, it's all about the sugars being tasting as close to caramel / butterscotch as possible, right? When you make a cookie, really, you're just taking butter, sugar, flour, egg possibly, and just trying to get caramel into some sort of bread-like shape and texture, right? But really, you just want it to taste like fucking caramel. So the closer it tastes to that, the better the cookie part is.
So I guess on that note, in terms of that flavor, I like really complicated, weird cookies and like fancy ones, but like I'm not gonna lie, my favorite kinds of cookies are sugar cookies and shortbread cookies.
You mean cookie and cookie?
Yeah, but there's the chocolate chip cookie. That is a fundamentally different class of cookie.
Sure, whatever.
Like they serve a different purpose.
Right.
They feel different. They serve a different craving.
Right, and then in terms of the filling in the cookie, right? The best filling you can possibly put in a cookie is pretty much fruits, nuts, and chocolates of any kind. It doesn't really matter.
I like
but
the pure medium. I like just the sugar cookie.
the best fruits you can put in are dried fruits, like, say, a raisin or a craisin, right?
What about the fancy grandma cookie that's like shortbread on the outside and then like that apricot stuff you get in a Hamantaschen on the inside?
That's like a fruit filling. That's not. You're venturing slightly out of cookie territory.
That is a
there.
cookie.
Sure.
Wait, I'm going to go to the Wikipedia page on cookie.
It's a Hamantaschen, by the way. Anyway,
I pronounced it with my Midwestern media neutral accent.
For the nuts, right? The absolute best nut is the walnut. There's pretty much no better nut to put in a sweet cookie treat than a walnut.
That is true. That's why DeBella's has chocolate chip cookies and chocolate chip cookies with walnuts. The latter are just superior.
Walnuts are real expensive for a reason. And of course, chocolate, you want to put in not the sweet chocolate. The sweetness is coming from the cookie. You want to put in, to contrast the flavor, the dark chocolate or the semi-sweet or the bitter chocolate. And you don't want to put in too much either. You want to put in so that there's enough in each bite, so you get a little chocolate in each bite. You don't get like a face full of nothing but cookie. But you don't want to just be eating a chocolate bar with extra sugar added either, right? It's got to be the right amount in there.
All right, the Wikipedia is pretty much like spot on. It's very clear, like this is United States centric. A sweet baked treat, flour, eggs, sugar, butter, cooking oil, or another fat of some kind.
Yep.
And maybe with something like raisins, oats, chocolate chips, or nuts.
Yep.
That's it. That's cookie.
Yep.
Or biscuit if you live somewhere weird.
Now, there are certain very popular cookies I would like to comment on, right?
Ooh, here's a list of all known names. Oh,
What are you looking at now?
There's a Wikipedia page, list of all cookies, but then on the cookie page, there is a list of notable cookie varieties.
Right, so here's some notable cookie varieties you have to discuss.
What's a fatigue man?
I don't know.
Ooh, oh, I know that kind of cookie. That's a donut, though. It's not a cookie.
All right, so notable important cookies to discuss. Number 1, the Girl Scout cookie.
You know what? Overrated. I don't like them anymore.
Most people seem to like the really fancy ones that are complicated, like the tag-along, right? I prefer the Thin Mint, but even more, I prefer the one that no one gives a shit about, which is the trefoil.
Yeah, the shortbread one. That's the best Girl Scout
The
cookie
trefoil
ever.
is just the shape of a Girl Scout logo, and it's a cookie.
It's a shortbread cookie, right?
Right, yeah, but it's just really freaking good, and no one gives it any respect because it's so boring compared to, like, the Do-si-do or whatever. So you can get them real easily. But they taste great. I don't know. And, the complicated ones, I think they're just trying too hard.
But the problem is, I used to really like Girl Scout
And the
cookies.
Thin Mint, the chocolate quality in the Thin Mint, either I've been able to taste better chocolate or it's gotten worse. Because the chocolate in the Thin Mint is like the lowest quality chocolate that there is.
Here's how I'd say it.
And the mint is not nearly as strong as it used to be.
With the trefoil, once I started eating fresh baked shortbread cookies, those things are just garbage.
Well, I mean, it's not a good version of that, but I'm comparing Girl Scout cookies to other Girl Scout cookies.
But I'm saying comparing them to real cookies, and with the Thin Mint.
Yeah, I mean, a Girl Scout cookie is a mass-manufactured, not great cookie no matter which one you get.
The Thin Mint is in the same tier as the Andes Mint. Cheap chocolate, barely any mint.
And you would be surprised, the chocolate and mint in the Andes candies, which are not cookies, by the way,
Yep, I'm not
is
saying they
better
are.
than the chocolate and mint in a Thin Mint.
I'd agree with that, thinking about it.
It's actually, anyway. So the Girl Scout cookie. Okay, so the Oreo. Oreo's been doing a thing lately where they got tons of crazy flavors. That's their shtick now. And they have they're all limited time. So it's
So
like,
do you know about the difference between Oreos and Hydrox?
oh, you want to talk about Hydrox?
Hydrox came first, and in blind taste tests, was better.
I have eaten both. I've never done a blind taste test, but the cookie part, the frosting, I could never tell the difference. But I could tell without even looking, eating the Hydrox, because the cookie is drier in the Hydrox, but has a more chocolatey flavor.
That is true.
But the dryness of the Hydrox cookie, even though the chocolatey flavor of the Hydrox cookie part is better, because the Oreo cookie, the chocolate one, really doesn't taste like anything. It's really just a vehicle for the frosting, except the golden Oreo, which tastes great. The dryness of the Hydrox just cancel it out.
Yep. I always remember as a kid, there were a few people in the neighborhood who always got Hydrox, and everyone else got Oreos. And I remember...
Do they even make Hydrox anymore?
I'm trying to figure that out right now. But basically, everyone always assumed that Hydrox was like this bullshit knockoff, and like that was what the poor kids would eat. But now it was the opposite. The Hydrox was like the high quality one, and Oreo was the knockoff of Hydrox. Let's see. Formed in 1908.
It's old.
The company was bought by Keebler in 1996, and in 99 they replaced Hydrox with a similar but reformulated thing named Droxy, so Hydrox is dead.
Okay.
As far as I can tell. Carvel used the Hydrox cookie crumbs until 2012? Because I guess they're kosher. All right, interesting.
Anyway, so Oreo's got all these crazy flavors. This is a shtick. And my coworkers sort of like we always get whatever those new flavors are. And they usually do a pretty good job of tasting like what they say on the package. But I think they keep them limited for a reason, is that you'll realize like, oh, there's really no point to this. It's just, more Oreo.
They also don't taste that different. Like, I wonder in blind tastes, I'll bet...
we just had, the one we had most recently was like brownie batter Oreo, where the filling was replaced with something that tasted like brownie batter, and it was pretty much just chocolate Oreo, chocolate filling. It's like, yeah, it had a very subtle difference that was clearly brownie batter-ish, but what? Big deal. It's like, okay, it's not like blowing you away. Like, my life has changed. I love these so much. It's not something insanely good. It's not, I'd rather eat just plain old golden Oreo. So, anyway.
Yeah.
And we, a lot of the weird flavors, like you don't even want to eat them at all. Like the watermelon one, it's like, oh yeah, it's got a watermelon flavoring. Okay, that's enough of that for me. I'm done.
Well, you know what? It's like with cocktails. I like the pure sort of classic cocktails. With cookies, I like the pure classic cookies. I like, Toll House style cookies. I like oatmeal cookies. I like shortbread and sugar cookies.
Mm-hmm. So, the animal cracker is a cookie, despite being called an animal cracker. And it's usually, even though it's, in the shape of an animal, which is always fun, because, like, I'll bite off the giraffe's head, and then his legs, and I always get it on JetBlue, because I don't want these other garbage they're handing out. Animal crackers, regardless of who makes them, seem to mostly just be like graham crackers in a different shape.
Yeah.
They're very cinnamony and honey-y.
Ooh, we can't get into that, because if we talk about graham crackers...
ever had, like those Teddy Grahams? That's usually what an animal cracker tastes like.
Yeah. Except Teddy Grahams always have like some weird coating to make them extra sweet.
Well, that's what animal cracker tastes like.
Depends on the animal cracker.
Sure. Also, I remember when they had those Teddy Grahams where they stuck 2 Teddy Grahams together with filling between them. And it's like, really? Really?
I remember nowadays I only get animal crackers on airplanes. And I actually only get them if there isn't a better option.
Yeah. So the graham cracker, despite being really popular and coming in many different forms, is really just sort of this bridge cookie in between the regular cookie and the ginger snap, right? Obviously, a graham cracker, it doesn't have ginger in it. It has like cinnamon or whatever. But it's sort of like this area of cookie where you get the spicy sweetness coming in because the cinnamon honey combo. And ginger snap is like, no, we're going to make a spice cookie. Hell yeah. I like me a ginger snap as long as it's still got some softness to it.
Yep. I
When
like
the ginger snaps get hard, then it's like, eh.
Spice cookies, all those things. Like we'd always make, the Christmas cookies with the shapes with spice. when I
Yeah,
was a kid.
gingerbread man, that same deal.
Yeah, the windmill cookie. That was my favorite mass manufactured cookie as a kid. Was the windmill cookie because those things had those thin sliced almonds in them.
So there's Chips Ahoy, and what's the other brand?
I can't eat that shit.
There's the other brand. What is it?
Doesn't matter. Chocolate chip cookies in packages are just like I can't eat them. They taste like preservative to me. Like they taste like they're soft still, and my brain says this should not be soft.
Yeah.
I just can't.
But there's like two major brands of bagged cookie that are right.
You mean bad cookie?
Yeah. There's also, a bunch of other similar kind of things down there, like the EL fudge, where it's like the two little Keebler elves with a ship in between them.
When I was a little kid, I really liked those because there was an old lady when we had block parties who would always set up a table with just tons and tons and tons of those things. And I'd just stand there two-fisting them.
Yeah.
But then I got a little older and my tongue would probably revolt if I did that.
There's still a step up, right?
Yeah, they are.
But then you go a step up even further, and now you're getting into Vienna Finger territory, which Vienna Finger is like a slightly differently shaped golden Oreo with a little less sugar and a little more cake flavor.
I feel like Vienna Fingers, there was an era at RIT with the Vienna Fingers.
Vienna Fingers are good.
They were okay. I don't know if they live up anymore.
No, Vienna Finger flavor has never changed as far as I can tell.
I know. I'm saying my taste might have gone beyond them.
Sure. So then after that, you start getting into like the hard mode, right? The hard mode is like chessmen that come in a bag or schoolboys.
Oh, you're thinking the Milanos?
Right.
I like the schoolboys. The white chocolate schoolboys are pretty
Right.
dangerous.
These are cookies are mass manufactured, but you only get a few at a time, and they come in a little baggie or something, and they're kind of fancy.
Except
they're not really fancy. You can get them anywhere.
Yep, I'll eat them all, so that's the problem.
And then the highest level of store-bought cookie, the Malamar, which might not even be a fucking cookie, depending.
I'm not a big fan of Malamars.
Malamars cost $5 for a reason.
I just don't like them that much. At that point,
It's basically a s'more that's not warm. It's like a packaged up s'more. You can eat a s'more whenever you want, no campfire.
Yep.
And that is why it's $5 to get a box of Malamars.
But the wake, the campfire s'more. It has
obviously,
to be
a
warm.
Malamar is not a replacement for a campfire s'more. It is simply an alternative s'more variety. Right? Much in the same way that something I can't come up with an example for right now. So there you have it.
Yep.
If Malamars are on sale, you buy them. If they're not, you don't.
One thing we can say, though, we're coming up on PAX, and one of the things I really love about PAX is the Cookie Brigade, because we were sitting there.
They brigade the
It's
finest of cookies.
You're like halfway through a game, and everyone's pretty hungry just because you haven't gone out to eat yet, and lunch
You're gonna
is
eat when
coming
this
up.
game's over, but it's only half over.
Yep. And then, you really want some food, but you can't stand up, and suddenly someone behind you just says, Cookie Brigade.
And it's like, oh, you have a delicious sugar that has been set on fire. I have a photograph of George Washington.
Yeah.
Shall we trade?
A lot of times
Let
I'll be
us
like,
trade.
here's $10. Just let me grab a fistful of cookies. I'm going to eat them all right now anyway.
You could probably, they better not let you have the whole bag.
Nah.
Rim could eat the whole bag, and then what would they do?
That's why usually I'll
They
buy
could be
a-
like, they get up on the stage at the end of PAX and be like, guys, this year, Cookie Brigade only brought in like $10. The $10 that Rim gave us before he ate all the cookies.
they roll me onto the stage. I'm still eating the cookies.
we had gluten-free ones left over that he didn't eat, but no one wanted them.
He's trying to eat them. It's like Malcolm
There's
in the
only
Middle.
one person here who actually had celiac.
97, 98, 97,
98.
The real situation, they come up and we raised $800,000 this year. Just one guy gave us all this cash. He's eating all the cookies in the back right now.
The final game of PAX is Rim Eat Cookie.
How many will he eat?
Bet. Whoever's closer without going over wins.
You guys don't understand. Not only do I like cookies, but as soon as the show ends, I'm going to run in because I just got some cookies that are fresh.
You ate one before the show.
I ate two
Daddy
before the show.
He ate two.
I ate one right when I came home. And
Do
then
you
I ate
eat
one.
cookie? I had two.
I pulled out another one as I was walking over here.
Okay.
Yeah, because they're
You have a problem.
Except
If I have cookies in my house, usually I have to bring them to work to get them finished off because I'm control myself and eat a ration of them per day. And some days I don't even eat any because it's too much.
I think the difference
like
is
at work today, there's a bag of Kit Kats. the mini ones. So I ate like 2. So that's about slightly less than a full normal person Kit
I could
Kat
only
bar.
eat about 2 of those before I felt blarg.
And now
I can't
don't
even eat a whole Snickers bar.
And now when I get home, I'm not going to be eating any cookie or any kind of chocolate or dessert whatsoever.
I
Because
think the difference is just my metabolism, because I weigh the same that I've weighed for like 15 years. I weigh 155 pounds. It never deviates.
I weigh about the same, different in the morning and the night, but, the
So-
range doesn't change.
I am pretty much always hungry, and when I eat to actually being full, like if I eat to the point that I'm not hungry anymore, that just gets me to my baseline. So I think it's just because I exercise a lot. I mean, if you need motivation to be an athletic person, the only motivation you should be this. I, Rim, as can be attested to by most of the people we know, eat all the cookies I want all the time, and I'm totally okay. And I'm not fat.
Well, but that's the thing. If somebody is already fat, they have to go through a period of not only exercising and being hungry, but not eating all the cookies before they can reach the point where they have to continue the exercising, but now can resume eating all the cookies.
So if you're not fat, if you're skinny, and you like to eat cookies, but you only eat a few because of self-control, exercise like I do, and you can eat all the cookies you want.
Or just don't eat all those cookies, because even though you may not get fat, still all that sugar is probably not the best thing for you to be doing.
Yeah, but last time I went to the doctor, they were like, wow, your blood is perfect. Like, everything's great. Your cholesterol is like near the bottom.
Did you eat cookies right before going to the doctor?
The minute before? No, because you have to fast so they can do the blood sugar thing.
That's why they didn't see your cookie problem. If they would have done that blood test the day before, they would have pulled up, and on the EKG, the little line would go, dude, and drawn a picture of a cookie, and they'll be like, up.
They go to draw blood, and cookie dough just starts coming out.
Me see problem here. C is for cancer.
I watched a lot of Sesame Street, and I feel like that's why I'm the way I am today. Cookie Monster was my hero.
My guys all began with C. Count and Cookie Monster. Those are the guys.
Actually, my favorite character was Gordon.
Okay.
For whatever reason. Number 2 is Cookie Monster.
3 is probably Wormy.
3 was actually Oscar the Grouch, because I felt like he told it like it was.
I like Wormy better than Oscar the Grouch.
I liked Oscar a lot. You know why? 1, green.
Green is good.
Yeah, like that's a really big reason.
Okay.
You're asking for my kid motivations for kid desires and kid opinions.
I want cookies and evil vampires.
Yup.
And then cute worms.
All right, we talked enough about cookies, so
I'm sure there will be much cookie discussion among other people. There's so many. I mean, I could talk about cookies so much. I could talk about the rainbow cookies at the Italian bakery. You could talk about cookies from all sorts of different countries.
There's one bad kind of cookie that I actually really like.
The
I
UK where
them.
they fucking call it a biscuit and a cookie is something different.
The black and white cookie.
Black and white cookies. There's so much going on here.
But the kind of cookie that's bad, and I know it's bad, but I like it anyway, so I try to avoid eating them, are that like store-bought kind of bakery cookie that is just a sugar cookie, but it's covered completely in thick, multicolored, hard frosting.
I don't like the hard frosting no matter what it's on.
Somehow, for some reason, I really like that kind of cookie.
Eating that is like eating the giant multicolored rainbow lollipop thing.
Yep.
It's like,
and I feel
that's not for
really...
eat. It doesn't seem like a thing that you eat. It seems like a prop.
I know, but yet when I eat that cookie, part of me is saying this is wonderful, and part of me is just trying to look away.
No part of me even wants to eat that cookie. I can't even take one bite.
You sure you're not just repressing it deep down? There's a little part of you that's like, that cookie.
No, the hard frosting is nasty.
Now,
if you take a regular cookie and you put some actual creamy frosting on the regular cookie, now you have a cake.
But then you go one step further.
But eat it anyway.
Just take that cookie, get another identical cookie, put ice cream between the 2 cookies.
And now you have the full power.
Yeah, ice cream sandwich is where it's at.
Also, that gif of Cookie Monster with the giant cookie.
No, I'm not. That face, that D face. All right, guys, either see you at PAX or we just saw you at PAX.
Or you suck.
We're done. I'm hungry for cookies. This This has been Geek Nights with Rim and Scott. Special thanks to DJ Pretzel for the opening music, Kat Lee for web design, and Brando K for the logos.
Be sure to visit our website at frontrowcrew.com for show notes, discussion, news, and more.
Remember, Geek Nights is not one, but 4 different shows. Sci-Tech Mondays, Gaming Tuesdays, Anime Comic Wednesdays, and Indiscriminate Thursdays.
Geek Nights is distributed under a Creative Commons Attribution 3.0 license. Geek Nights is recorded live with no studio and no audience. But unlike those other late shows, it's actually recorded at night.
Everywhere you look and everywhere you go, sugar, sugar, sugar from your head to your toe. When you've eaten lots of sugar and you've had too much, watch out everybody, it's the sugar.